The Paramount-Warner Bros merger has been paused. It's officially on hold, and this is an absolute disaster. Let's get into this week in film. Judge Araceli Martinez-Olguin issued a temporary restraining order last week, blocking the Paramount-Warner Bros deal from closing. The order came at the request of a coalition of 12 Democratic state attorneys general that argues that the deal will consolidate two of the top cable programmers in the US and two of the top film distributors, leading to higher prices and less output. The restraining order originally paused the closing of the merger until August 3rd. We've now heard that the order has been extended by another 14 days, and thus Paramount will not be able to close on the merger until August 18th at the earliest. The extension allows Paramount lawyers and the states looking to block the deal to come to an agreement on the schedule and format for legal proceedings on a preliminary injunction. If granted, the injunction would freeze the transaction until the case is decided. Paramount urged the court to hold a 3-day evidentiary hearing next month in order to address critical factual issues involving market definition, real-world competitive dynamics, barriers to expansion, and incentives. Paramount intends to put on expert witnesses and cross-examine the state's experts in order to undermine arguments that the merger will suppress markets. Paramount have maintained that the state's understanding and calculation of the markets are faulty. The states have opposed this bid, arguing that a 3-day hearing isn't appropriate at the preliminary injunction stage, and they say that Paramount are essentially asking for a trial without giving them enough time. Ultimately, out of all the suits and accusations thrown at Paramount, at least one of them was going to surface. This pause of the merger has really put a spanner in the works for Paramount, who actually have a deadline of September 30th to close this deal. So Paramount previously offered to not consummate the merger for up to a month if the court agreed to schedule preliminary injunction proceedings by the end of August, so that there could be a decision made before the ticking fee is triggered. Now remember, in the deal's contract, Paramount will need to pay $6.9 million per day penalty if the deal is not closed by the deadline of September 30th. So this is all just added pressure for Paramount. I'm sure they're waiting with bated breath for the decision of the preliminary injunction, which will determine if they can close the deal and when. I'll be waiting on that update. On another note, Paramount received a little bit of hope in spite of the injunction from the European Commission. They have actually approved the merger. This removes one of the few remaining obstacles to close the deal. The European Commission represents the European theatre trade, which includes cinema associations and operators across 39 territories. And they conducted an investigation of the impacts in the EU, finding that the Paramount-Warner Bros deal will not harm competition in TV or film production, as there are enough global and local competitors that will remain. However, the Commission's investigators did flag that the film distributors market would become overly concentrated due to Paramount's long-standing joint venture with Universal, which goes under the name United International Pictures. Therefore, as a condition of the approval, Paramount have already agreed to cancel their film distribution partnership in Europe with Universal within the next 13 months, and will not enter a similar arrangement for at least a decade. As a response to the European Commission's decision, the International Union of Cinemas, known as UNIC, have criticised the Commission's decision to approve the merger, saying that their decision was based on too narrow a scope, although they do approve of the cancellation of the film partnership between Universal and Paramount. The CEO of UNIC, Laura Holgat, said, "We strongly believe that the Commission could and should have gone further with its conditions for the merger's approval. Our sector raised numerous concerns with its competition department about the proposed deal, and the Commission's findings don't reflect that bigger picture. It has based its decision on too narrow a scope." According to the CEO, among the risks are theatrical distribution arrangements outside the territories, as well as theatrical windows, film diversity, preservation of film output and production pipelines, contractual practices, and access to back catalogues. Although this is a win for Paramount, it is a loss for those against the merger, and I do lean towards CEO Laura's review on needing to further probe in the investigation. For me, the many allegations and lawsuits floating around for Paramount call for there to be a deeper look But I guess according to the European Commission, they've reviewed what they needed to see, and as reported, they still feel there will be enough competitors for there to be a healthy space in the market for this merger, at least from an EU perspective. In the land of Disney, unfortunately, there are more layoffs afoot, and Pixar Animation Studios was the latest to be hit hard amongst these company-wide layoffs. I reported on the first set of layoffs at Disney that happened back in April, where they cut approximately 1,000 employees from their marketing departments. You can watch that video after this one with the title shown on screen. Disney's job cuts span across corporate functions, including ESPN, many related to the integration of NFL Network, Disney Entertainment Television, and Disney Studios. The majority of the layoffs on the studio side are within Pixar, and majority of cuts in the TV group are at National Geographic. Walt Disney Studios has evolved its production strategy over the past 3 years to reduce overall volume and prioritize quality, with a focus on theatrical releases which feed into the company's broader entertainment ecosystem, with less produced directly for streaming. You know, this is such a shame because job cuts and redundancies are never easy, and I really feel for those affected. The economy has been tough on folks, and I hope that there are more opportunities available to those who are affected by these cuts. Hopefully there'll be no more news of more cuts this year. On a much brighter note, Days of Thunder 2 has been confirmed to be in the works, and of course this is great news for me because it stars the one and only Tom Cruise. The first installment of this film was released in 1990 with Nicole Kidman, who he married after first meeting and starring with in this film. Tom Cruise will also produce the film alongside Jerry Bruckheimer, who produced the first film in 1990. I'm very happy to hear about this sequel because it is the closest chance we'll get to seeing a Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise collab again on our screens. I love Nicole and I love the films she's done with Tom. Obviously, since their divorce, we haven't seen any interaction with them on screen or off screen. I feel the sequel wouldn't be the same without her, to be honest. The chemistry that she has with Tom on screen is like an underlying power move for that film. So seeing her again would be just the perfect follow-up. Just like how Val Kilmer was able to return for Top Gun Maverick after starring in the first Top Gun with Tom back in 1986, hopefully there'll be an opportunity for Nicole to come back for Days of Thunder 2. And hopefully she'll say yes. So that's all I have for TWIF this week in film. Will Paramount be able to close in on this deal in time and dodge the $6 million a day fee? Do you think there'll be more cuts at Disney? Hopefully not. Let me know what you think and I will see you in the comments.